family, welcome. Happy Monday. I know you didn't expect to hear from me today, right? And I didn't expect to be here, but listen, we probably going to be doing this a lot between now and the end of the Amber Guyger trial because today started the trial of Amber Guyger in the fatal police shooting, off-duty police shooting of Botham Jean. And so I am just um, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get anything done, you guys, because um, I'm going to see. I just finished an episode right now on the Law and Crime Network, which is a streaming situation. And I don't understand it completely. It's not on TV, right? I guess it's kind of like Netflix or something. I don't know, but it's a streaming network, Law and Crime, lawandcrime.com. They have a website. You could go there and you can follow day's events because they cover live trials. And so today we were talking about a couple of different things. We were talking about over in Florida, Granville Ritchie is a Black guy who is facing murder, capital murder in the death of a 9-year-old little girl, Felicia Williams. They are winding up that particular trial. And then we talked a little bit about another trial that's in out to the jury right now, where a man is accused of killing his wife. And then we touched on the Amber Guyger trial. And so I am just, because listen, this is the criminal trial, not the civil trial. And so I know, hey, Robert, I know that, we know the civil trial is coming, right? And a lot of it is going to hinge on what happens in this criminal trial, because listen, if Amber Guyger is found guilty in the criminal trial, it will make things oh so much easier when it gets time for the civil trial. So I am fully expecting, listen, I'm not a soothsayer. I don't have a crystal ball or none of that. Just my gut. I am believing that Amber Guyger is going to be found not guilty. I think she'll be acquitted. I don't believe she's going to take the stand. We talked about this today. I shared the stage, if you will, with an attorney, a defense attorney, and we were both kind of giving our own thoughts and ideas on this particular case. But you guys, I'm going to keep saying this and you'll hear me, it'll sound like I'm on a loop some kind of way, because I believe, as I've said to you before, that Amber Guyger was working in the capacity of security for that complex. She was off duty. She responded to that complex because the leasing officer asked her to have words with Botham Jean about something that happened earlier in the day. And I've heard 911 calls made by Amber Guyger where she identifies herself as security when she's talking to the 911 dispatcher, who is then relaying that information to responding fire department and paramedic personnel. So there's a lot going on right now in the trial today. A lot of back and forth, a lot of pre-trial motions, trying to figure out, who could say what you can't say, what kind of evidence is going to come in. And so let me just share with you what I've already kind of heard from our coverage on the Law and Crime Network about this trial, is that they are not going to be able to refer to Botham Jean as victim. They have to refer to him as complaining witness. Now, I'm bothered already. And the trial hasn't even started because Botham Jean was a victim, is a victim. And so here we go with the game plan. And this is all being done right now outside of the presence of the jury. So they don't know any of this stuff is going on. But when they do start referring to Botham Jean, the prosecutor and their witnesses cannot use the term victim in reference to him. Why? Well, what do you think? You tell me. There's also some back and forth about what kind of information from her phone is going to be made available, hearable, if you will, to the jury, because now it's been said, it'll come out, she was having a relationship. She was in a sexual relationship with her partner. Isn't that special? And they were texting, like these millennials like to do. They had all their business on the cell phone, and they were doing some of it on Snapchat, because these young folks think because Snapchat has them thinking that, stuff goes away in 24 hours. Y'all need to know everything and anything you put on the internet, on a platform, a social media platform, on a cell phone, whether you delete it, drop your phone in water, or chuck it from a roof, it could be recovered. You need to know that. And so there was a lot of information. There was a lot of sexting going on between Miss Amber and old boy the night of the shooting. They were planning to get together some kind of way when she got off. So we know now, in my mind, she couldn't have been too tired, right? She couldn't have been too sleepy because she had just worked 12 hours because she was getting ready to get her groove back with old boy. And they were texting about it and had been all night. So there's some very salacious information on her cell phone through text messages that they don't want the jury to see. And so they're trying to narrow the focus in terms of what information will be made available for the jury. And then, of course, there was stuff that was said on her cell phone in text messages with her family. You know, the brother, right? He's shown doing some kind of, right, the whole white power thing, symbol, right? However they do it. I ain't one of them, so I don't know. But you get my point, right? And so there was some conversations that Miss Amber was having, and who knows what she was saying to her people when she didn't think anybody was looking or anybody would see it later about her shooting a black man. So haven't heard opening yet. Can't wait to see what the premise is going to be. Now, listen, they're trying to make a big deal about the fact that, she was a police officer, but listen, she was off duty. And so I'm believing that police officer is going to cut both ways, because the other thing that is being debated right now, and the judge is going to decide, and it sounds like, I couldn't see her, but it sounds like the judge is a sister girl in Texas. And she's making some decisions about what can be said in front of the jury and what can't be said in front of the jury. And then, this is the game that you play in court. Everybody knows the real, but it's what you can say and present to the jury, and then let the jury figure it out as best they can based on those limitations. So to that point, there were some statements that were being shared with between Amber and her family that they don't want to come in, that they have on that phone. And then they're trying to use the standard for self-defense from a criminal perspective, not a civil perspective, because there's a difference. But I think I'm of the opinion that even if they use the criminal standard for self-defense, here's the deal. This heifer's a police officer, on duty or off. She's a police officer, and you can't unknow training. You can't unhear, unlearn, unremember training. And so police officers only get to use that force necessary to overcome resistance. Botham Jean wasn't resisting her. He was sitting in his apartment eating something in a bowl and minding his own business. And when she stepped through that threshold, after she used that master key that I believe she had, right? Because I think she had a master key, because I think she was hired as security for the complex, because she identified herself as security to 911 when she reported she had shot Botham. So when she entered that apartment, because the door could not have been ajar, because it had some kind of a sure slam or whatever they call it, where once you let it go, the door closes. It don't stay open. And it was reported that she had animals. And so if the door was ajar, wouldn't her animals have gotten out or come to the door or something, greeted her? I am bothered by this. And I just want to follow every moment of this trial to see what kind of foolishness they try to put forth to confuse the jury. I don't see anything reasonable about what she did. If she walked in that apartment and got inside the apartment, and the furnishings and the way it was set up didn't alert her that she was in the wrong apartment, realizing she confronted a burglar, why didn't she back out? Because a police officer on duty and off duty, tactics that lead up to a shooting, Poor tactics lead to poor shootings. And, we would have to think, I would say that she used poor tactics because there was nothing about him other than he was a black man, maybe a good sized black man, that would have caused her to be so scared when he didn't get down, lay down, whatever it was she was supposedly telling him, whatever commands she's given this man in his own house. And when he doesn't comply, she gets to kill him. We've seen this time and time again where police officers, even on duty, try to say he didn't get out of the middle of the street, or he didn't turn around and submit to being handcuffed. They weren't compliant. They were being uncooperative. They ran. And so somehow that justifies killing them. It doesn't pass the smell test for me. And so off duty, you can give somebody an order, but for you off duty in his house and somehow self-defense, I got to go to the gym, you guys. I've been up since 5 o'clock. I started this Law and Crime Network discussion at 6 my time, 9 o'clock on the East Coast. And so I'll do this again on next Monday, Law and Crime Network, 6 a.m. The show that I was on is called The Morning Docket with Jesse Weber. And so we will continue to talk. I'm sure the trial will still be going on. I'm hearing from everything that, again, I couldn't see, I could only hear, but I'm hearing that the courtroom is packed in Dallas right now. And you can understand because there's a lot of interest. And so, so I don't expect any good to come of this because it is Texas, understand and be clear. It is Texas. And, I don't know what this jury looks like. I don't know the composition in terms of men or women. I don't know ethnicity. They did not get that change of venue that they were looking for, where they could have taken it to a more Amber friendly community, if you understand what I'm saying. So I don't know how the jury's stacked, but I do know a little bit about what they are going back and forth about in terms of what will the jury get to know? How will Botham Jean be referred to? Complaining witness. That's offensive. He's not a complaining witness. He's a victim. But anyway, I don't know if they're going to try to dirty him up. There's also the defense is wanting to bring in some information with regards to character reference, character witness type testimony, so they can have everybody talk about what an amazing police officer Amber Guyger is. They're calling it character trait testimony. I don't know if the judge is going to allow that either, because everybody is asking for stuff right now. And the judge hasn't made a determination as to what can go on. So let's see, Robert, with everything you're saying about her, how can you say that she will get off? Well, listen, I'm not saying she's going to get off. I'm just telling you what I think, Robert. I think she's going to get off because she's a white woman in Texas, and because she's a little small white woman in Texas. And if she has a jury that's white in Texas, and because she's a police officer, great deference is given to what police officers say in Texas and everywhere else. So when you have a police officer on duty or off duty, she's a police officer, say that, somebody scared me, like Betty Shelby did when she shot Terrence Crutcher in the back as he walked away from her with his hands in the air. And she said that him doing that scared her more than anything ever in her life. A jury acquitted her, Robert. So that's why I think she'll be found not guilty. That's just me. Now, whether she's found guilty criminally or not, hey, Chris, I'm good. How are you? There's a civil trial coming. And we know because we've seen this movie, folks. Come on now. Come on. We've seen this movie where officers are found not guilty. Well, unless you look like me and your name is Mohammed Noor, right? Then they'll find you guilty then. But we've seen juries not find officers guilty more often than not, followed up by, here's a bucket of billions of dollars, millions of dollars, and then they just toss it to the family because they'd much rather give you taxpayer money, give the family taxpayer money, change nothing about the way the police department conducts and comports themselves. And in this instance, she's off duty. So I don't know if they are going to, I don't know if the union out there or the fraternal order police, whatever they call themselves, I don't know if they're going to rally around her and if they're going to be the ones that are going to want to take up that civil suit should the family prevail. I don't know who will pay the money. You know, Amber Guyger don't have no money, but we'll see what happens. Thomas, in your response to Robert, absolutely. Yeah, we've seen police officers get off time and time again. So I don't feel good. I don't feel good. And like I said, right now they're playing games with what can the jury know, what can they not know, and keeping certain information from the jury is part of the game. Have you ever watched any of these TV shows where after the fact they poll the jury, they talk to the jury, and they said, oh my God, I didn't know that. If I had known this, I would have found them guilty. That's our system. That's how it works. So they're going to probably, for the better part of this day, go back and forth with these pretrial motions, and then they'll have openings. So if anybody should find out if they are actually going to stream this trial live on television, please let a sister know so I can set my DVR. I want to watch this thing. I don't want to miss a moment of this trial. And I don't know if there are any of you out there that are as obsessed as I am with trials and watching them. Yeah, I'm obsessed. And so if anybody knows if it's going to be shown on a cable network, please let me know. Okay, Ralph, so you said Noble should be present during the court proceeding to support the family. Noble? Are you kidding me, sir? Do you know anything about Noble, National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives? Are you kidding me? Sir, you only get to be a part of Noble, or here in Los Angeles, ABLE, Association of Black Law Enforcement Executives. That means command staff. That means captain and above on the LAPD. You only get to do that, if you breathe that special air, and the only ones who really get to breathe that special air are generally, now I don't want to make everybody the same, but for the most part, we're talking about the ones that reside in the house with Massa, right? That's Noble. So expect them to do nothing. Expect them to do nothing. And if they do, I would be pleasantly surprised. But I'm not looking for Noble to do anything, please. I'm just looking at my notes real quick here to talk about the things that I heard them saying to the judge with regards to, what's going to be allowed and what's not going to be allowed. So I'll be coming to you probably a lot. Oh, cool, Mr. Jones. It's on Court TV right now. Cool. Thank you so much. I'm gonna have to go and set my DVR so that I can watch it. But I will come back to you, and I will tell you what I think about what's going on and what's being said. And like I said, I fully expect that the family is only going to get redress during the civil suit connected to this. I expect wholly and completely for Amber Guyger to be acquitted by a jury of her peers. I pray that I'm wrong. I wish I was wrong, but I want to prepare you guys for that. And I hope my family in Dallas is prepared for that, so that they don't lose their collective minds when it happens, because we've seen it happen time and time again. This is, the latest in a long line of high profile police on duty, off duty. This is off duty shootings. And I just don't feel good about it. I just don't. So, hey, Ruben, I will, hey, Ruben, I will, I'll keep you posted, and I'll tell you what I think. I'll tell you what I think. And, it's just what I think, because at the end of the day, it's up to the jury. It's up to the 12 people that they chose to sit and listen to the evidence. And then understand this, there's a whole process to jury selection. And, they're looking, each side is looking for a certain type of juror. And, as they pick people to be on the juries, anybody who's not in line with a particular side, whether it's defense or prosecutor, you get to strike. In other words, have them removed from the jury. So I don't know how that looks. I don't know what went into that, and I don't know who they ultimately had. And it's very, very difficult to say what is in the mind of another person. I can't say what's in the mind of a police officer when they do a thing, and I can't say what's in the mind of a juror as they listen to the thing that police officer did. So I'm going to the gym. I got a lot of extra energy I need to work off. So you guys keep me in prayer, and I'm gonna do the same for you, because yeah. Mr. Jones, I don't want to butcher your first name, so I don't want to say it and mispronounce it. But in terms of you asking me, is manslaughter on the table, or are you making a statement? Because listen, she was initially arrested on manslaughter, and then they upped the charge to murder. I think that the charge was murder, changed to murder, because of some of the stuff that I know about, that I've read, that I've seen, that I've heard. I think that's why they did the whole bumped it up to murder, because she was off duty tactically. It wasn't reasonable to suspect or assert that she was in fear somehow, in danger. And the only recourse was to shoot this man. So somebody made a decision to change the charge, and we'll have to see what happens. So, yeah, Ralph, it's going to depend on how aggressive the district attorney is in this particular case. And, we saw, I remember in the case of, I think it was in the case of Trayvon Martin, the district attorney in Florida, with the whole Zimmerman situation. They sent in their C team to put on that trial, and that's why Zimmerman was, able to skate. I don't know if they're bringing their A game, if this is the varsity team in Dallas, or if they're just gonna, pretend to put on a strong prosecution. We'll see. Anyway, I am I am probably more personally invested in this thing, emotionally invested in this thing, than is probably in my best interest health-wise. So I'm gonna have to pace myself. I'm gonna have to keep myself calm, but I feel so strongly about the things that I have shared with you over this last year about Amber Guyger and what I know about police officers working in apartment complexes at a reduced rate, if you agree to, interject yourself whenever there's a problem on site, right? I know that officers do that. And I've talked to folks who have acknowledged that, they may not have necessarily taken part in that, but they know others who have in other places around the nation. So it's not something that's just unique to LA. This is something that police officers do. You agree to be bothered, to have somebody call you from the leasing office and say, go tell the people in 2B to turn their radio down, and you get the homie hookup on your rent, much like what happens in an establishment. That's why restaurants give police officers discounts on food. And that's why we go, because who doesn't want to get their meal at half off, right? But when you got 5 or 6 police officers sitting up in your restaurant, you got security. You don't ever have to worry about somebody coming in there and robbing your establishment when you got 4 or 5 police officers coming through eating at a discount on all three watches, the three major watches, right? That's what I'm talking about on LAPD day watch, 6 a.m. to 2 or 3, PM watch, 2 p.m. to 11, morning watch, 11 to 6 a.m. Those are the three main shifts. And within those three shifts are other time frames when officers come in. Some may come in from 6 at night to 6 in the morning, 6 in the morning to 6 at night, 9 at night to 9 in the morning. And so there's varying shifts. So you have police officers, they come to work, we hungry. You know how we do at a Winchell's, right? We line up for that first cup of coffee to start our shift off and get a couple of donuts or a bagel or whatever it is they're willing to give us for free or at a discount. So they've got security, free security. Apartment complexes do the exact same thing. I'm telling you what I know. And so, as with everything that I say, your agreement is not required. Not that anybody is disagreeing with me on here, because I get nothing but love from my Facebook family. But, after I get done talking to you, I'm going to upload this and send it over to my subbies on YouTube. And they can tend to be a little rowdy. So subbies, love you, love you, love you. I do not need you to agree with me on any of what I am saying today. Be clear. I'm just telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I know, and I'm telling you kind of what I think might happen. And I'm only telling you what I think might happen because I don't want you to be taken by surprise. So, Robert, what are you saying? Botham had a red mat at the front door. How on earth could she have not known she was in the wrong apartment? Listen, Robert, are you trying to raise my blood pressure? Because I haven't had my medicine this morning, sir. Don't get me started. Yes. I heard about the red mat, and I heard that she had animals. And listen, just even if the floor plan was exactly alike, because listen, I've purchased homes in these suburbs. You know how they do these houses now. Every third house is the same, right? The floor plan is exactly the same. And so there is no way that I could enter into a residence, into an apartment unit, even if the floor plan was identical to mine, and not know that I'm not in my space until I get up in there. I engage in a shooting with someone, and then it's not until I back out and look on the side of the door in the hallway where the number is that was there when I walked in before I put my key in the door, that was illuminated, that said 1478. She was living in 1378. Robert, you didn't have me on here long enough to let my nose start running again. But yeah, so I mean, there's just a whole myriad of reasons why her saying she was in the wrong apartment didn't make any sense. So it wasn't until she backed out that she realized, when she walked in there, that the TV wasn't where, she had it in her apartment, or they had a special, picture on the wall that, wasn't her. Listen, don't get me started, sir. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Mr. Jones, I don't know which witnesses they're going to be calling. I don't know. And I guess, we won't know. I haven't seen a witness list. Why would I? We won't know until they start calling witnesses. And, that may be something that will be discussed and debated as well. Pre-trial, which witnesses, they probably already had these conversations because they've been meeting in advance of the trial actually starting and having some of these discussions. So they're just fine tuning everything right now in terms of what will be allowed and what won't be allowed. And so be ready for that. If you hear about it, if I hear about it, I'll certainly share it with you. Be ready for the kind of stuff that the jury should know, but they won't get to know, because that's part of the game. So I'm headed to Court TV to set up my DVR. And listen, I will, come back to you guys again, and I'll talk to you probably more than you're going to want to hear me talk to you about this. So just, bear with me. And if you have any questions, or if you have any concerns, anything that you want me to address, shoot me a question here on Facebook. Subbies, just ask me in the comments, or you can send me an email, which a lot of you do privately if you don't want to have this discussion in an open forum, if you will. Sergeant SGT Dorsey Speaks at gmail.com. SGT Dorsey Speaks at gmail.com. Reach out to me there or visit me on my website, www.sgtcheryldorsey.com. Hit the contact button and send me a message there. So there's a whole bunch of ways that you can reach out to me and we could chop it up either publicly or privately. And I will give you my best counsel, my best advice, tell you what I think. Anyway, that's where we are. And see, I'm just scrolling through here. Yeah, Mr. Jones, they did not search her apartment. I understand. I read somewhere that there were 5 warrants, search warrants that had been drafted but never served. Now, why would that be? Yeah, why would that be? So anyway, okay, I could stay here and chat with you, but I got to get to my DVR. So we may talk again maybe tomorrow. And now that I know that it's on Court TV, I may just come to you every day. Every day at the end of the day, so that I make sure the top of my head does not come off. I'm going to have to vent. And so will you vent? Will you listen so that I don't have a heart attack? Okay. Thank you, family. We'll do this again real soon. Till next time, be good, be safe.